Well, hello again, and I'm just going to talk about another new book, Silentium. Actually, this is an expanded and edited reprint of a limited edition hardback book that I did a few years ago. But now there are more images, many more images in this book, and I've made it into an affordable paperback, perfect bound edition. It has 80 pages of photographs. And although I started making still lives of plant forms many years ago, it sort of expanded during lockdown, and almost everything in the book is actually from my garden here. So when we were in lockdown, and I was able just to go between the house and the studio here, I would follow my nose, look at the intimate scenes in the garden that were there every day. And many of the pictures are actually of plant forms, in a sense, past their what we might call their horticultural best. I think they're fascinating when they're just coming into flower, or perhaps when they've died. I've gone over, the seed heads are forming. I think that's when they're the most interesting, and it talks about that passage of time, the change of the seasons, and the fact that maybe we should just look a little bit closer at things and not just accept things just to be pretty or picturesque or beautiful, but really look at the kind of nature. So in many ways, it's a documentary piece about myself, about my garden, my home here. But it's also, in a sense, a philosophical piece, maybe allowing us to look at nature in a little bit of a different way. So once again, thanks for watching. If you like the content, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through some of the processes that I go through to make the work, and then you can see how the book was put together. So keep watching, and again, many thanks. Well, here are some pages from the book, some of the images made in all seasons over a period of a couple of years. As I walk up and down the garden, I look at things every time, and I notice the changes in the plants as the seasons progress. And I just take something and then bring it up to the studio. And here is, in fact, some views of my garden as I walk up and down the path several times a day. You can see that I'm constantly looking for those changes in the flora, different varieties, some of which I know have been in the garden for many years. Others are accidental incomers, weeds. Every garden has weeds. I like to keep an element of wildlife friendly plants in the garden. I have lots of birds and so on which come here and so on. And so it's not the tidiest of gardens, but there's plenty of changes in the seasons every year, constantly changing according to the weather, according to seasons, according to the light, according to the climate. And there's an infinite variety to look at, and especially when you go in closely and look at the kind of microcosm of what's going on. It's a reflection, I think, of the wider landscape, the constantly evolving small changes that sometimes you don't notice unless you really go in close and observe what's happening. Autumn, I find especially interesting because you get the seed heads evolving, which are normally discarded or pruned away by the gardener. So it's all about, apart from the being a documentary about my garden, it's a documentary about myself, about my attitudes to nature, about my attitudes to the wider landscape, And like all documentary photographers, I'm fascinated with all aspects of the world around me. Here's one of my many globe artichokes that I grow. I like to eat them as well, which may seem a bit cannibalistic, eating my models, but I grow a lot of them every year. Two more images from the book. These are all single pages that are over nearly 80 pages in the book, and just to give you a flavour of what the pages look like. Editing and sequencing takes a long time, and I usually do it over a matter of weeks. Make little thumbnails like this and lay them out and keep changing orders and pairing images. It just takes a long time, and I don't think there's one definitive way, certainly for a body of work like this. Unusually for me, I've mixed some black and whites in with the mix, and I think it's made an interesting selection. This is just a quick thumb through a few of the pages. As I said, there's 80 pages, introductory text, and then just a sequence of images, beautifully printed. I've mixed some black and white and color. The black and whites are probably from some years ago when I began making this series of images, and then the color ones are the more recent ones, the ones that I made during lockdown. And as you can see, they're mostly images of the plants past what people might say are their best, but I think they're interesting. They bring out a greater character when they're faded, when they're perhaps making seed, when they're past their what we would call a useful shelf life. And I think there are more interesting things going on. And I think it just makes us look a little bit closer at nature and our immediate surroundings. So there it is, 80 pages and a photograph on every page. SILENTIUM. So here are a few more images, book pages from the book. Again, taken from all seasons, all times of the year. Just when I'm walking up and down the garden, I see something, isolate it, select it, nip it off, and then come to photograph it. Well, I hope that gave you a little insight as to how I put together the book and how I made the work and why. And if you want a signed copy, just go to my Big Cartel page. I'll put a link at the end, and we'll get you off a signed copy. So once again, many thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we'll make more content.